So, okay, so I want to kind of dive a little bit into that first coaching program that you went into. And do you remember, was there certain maybe subjects that they brought up that really got you to change directions, or was it like a moment, or was there a certain, something that happened where the light bulb went on? You're like, I hate this freaking job. I need to get out of here, do something else. What was it? How did they guide you? How did they do it?
I can't remember exactly, Daniel. What I do remember, probably the greatest sort of feeling that came with it, and the greatest and most palpable memory was this new hospital that was being built was in Carson City, Nevada. So I was flying down there, and I'd spend a week there every single month. And I just remember feeling really lonely, getting on the airplane, staying in a hotel, showing up at the office. There's a bunch of recognizable faces there, but I wasn't really friends with anybody there. And so I just thought, this is not what I want for myself. So then working with the coach, I think one of the exercises I recall doing was identifying your gremlin, like that inner, that voice that tells you you're not good enough, you're not smart enough. And that was a really powerful exercise for me. And the little gremlin that we identified is one around indecision. So I think I'm really good at operating in environments that are where it's not really clear what's happening, and there's a lot of chaos. I'm okay with that. I'm really at my superpower there. And it's like a double-edged sword. So while I'm good in that environment, what that causes me to do is hesitate on making decisions. Sometimes I have to be really aware of that, because I'm constantly gathering new information and what are we going to do here, and adjusting, and that can lead me to indecision where I don't know what to do. And that's where I really felt like I felt just totally stuck in that ambivalence. Like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And then when we identified that inner gremlin of mine, which is to waddle in indecision, it was like, okay, well, I just need to decide to move forward somehow, because moving forward with a half-baked plan is better than not moving forward at all and just staying stuck. And I think that's probably true for a lot of people that are in business.
And so a business, the people that you're connecting with, are they a lot of small business owners, or are they just, regular people? They have jobs. I mean, who's your main audience? Like, who are you connecting with the most?
Well, remember with our business, Noomii, I'm really kind of hands off now. Like the business kind of runs on its own. And so I'm not necessarily interacting with folks on a regular basis, but we do know that the typical prototype or archetype of individual that's coming to the site and seeking coaching. And predominantly it's people who want career help. It's people who are, for example, someone who's maybe 40, they've been an accountant for 15 years, and they're kind of at that stage where they're going, what's next? I don't know if this is the thing for me. How can I take these skills that I have and transfer them into some other position or some other company? And we definitely saw a lot of that during COVID, because I think a lot of people were suddenly sitting at home, the little extra time on their hands going, what am I going to do? Because my position is evaporated, it's gone, or I'm having to redefine myself because roles changed so dramatically. And that was interestingly, when COVID hit, we had no idea what was going to happen to the business, and we had a really nice boom, which it was really awesome. It was awesome for us to be able to be there to support folks during really tough times.
And so tell me, I introduced you as a psychological safety expert. What the heck is that?
Yeah, good question. And we're starting to see it more and more in the media and so on. What is psychological safety? I'm going to give you two definitions, Daniel. So the first is more of a clinical one that maybe takes a little bit to wrap your head around. So it is a belief. So we're going to start there. It's a belief that within your work environment, you can speak up, say what's on your mind, even admit mistakes, And you can do all of that without the fear of reprimand, without the fear of some sort of social consequence. Now, I think there are definitely some work environments where if you speak up, you could maybe get fired. And that's a significant consequence. But I think most of the time, it's not that. Most of the time, it's much more subtle. It's like, maybe you can relate. So Daniel, when you were in grade 1 and the teacher's reading, maybe everyone's sitting on the floor, were you the kid at the back? Were you the kid at the front? Like where were you in that classroom?
I was probably in the back in school.
Yeah. And so if the teacher asks a question, I'm guessing there was a couple kids at the front going, oh, pick me. Sounds like that wasn't you. Now, why wouldn't you speak up if the teacher asks a question?
Oh, well, I was a kid that I was never good in school. I hated school growing up. Now, after school, of course, my life changed. I mean, lots has changed. But when I look back at school, man, I hated school. So I always sat in the back. I never spoke up because I wasn't smart. I never thought of myself as a smart person. I never thought of myself as an intelligent person. Even today, I tell people all the time, I don't have the highest IQ of everybody around me. Now, I have some other attributes that have helped me along the way, but I was never that person that spoke up in class. So that was me. Yeah.
So what you're pointing to there, you said, I wasn't the smartest kid in the class. So I'm guessing there's your little voice inside your head was saying, don't say something, Daniel, because everyone's going to find out that you're not that smart.
Absolutely. 100%.
Right.
When I went into business, when I first 21 years old, I went into business and I studied my ass off because I was so afraid that some 40-year-old guy was going to ask me something about finance or insurance that I didn't know, and I'd look like an idiot. So yeah, that was me.
Yeah. So being able to speak up with that voice in the back of your head is what in the research they would talk about interpersonal risk taking. It's a risk for you to say, I have a question, or I'm not really sure how to solve this problem. Can you help me? That's a form of interpersonal risk taking. And in a psychologically safe work environment, that the perceived risk for taking that interpersonal leap is lower, because you feel like in this work environment, I can admit that I'm not so smart, or I can admit that I don't have a solution, or I can ask the quote unquote stupid question, you see? And so it's really, that's what psychological safety is. Psychological safety is creating an environment where, and this comes to our definition, the one that we really promote in the training that we do, which is it's the courage to speak up and the confidence to know that you'll be heard. So as a leader and as a manager, as a business owner, you want to be creating an environment where everyone has the courage to speak up. And they're only going to do that if, when they do speak up, they have the confidence to know that they'll be heard, that they'll be appreciated. They're not going to be shut down. They're not going to be told they're dumb, or what the heck were you thinking? Why did you do that mistake? Those are, so that's the definition we use: the courage to speak up and the confidence to know you'll be heard. Now, you're probably wondering, well, who cares? Why is this important at all? And the reason is because the data is pretty significant. The best teams in the world have the highest degree of psychological safety, and the worst teams have the lowest degree of psychological safety. So if your people can speak up, can say what's on their mind, admit mistakes, etc., what does that lead to? That leads to solving problems much more efficiently than if people are not speaking up.
Thank you for watching our short clips on Alonzo Academy. If you'd like to watch the next short clip, click here. If you'd like to watch the entire podcast, click here.